Now, just when you think it couldn't get any worse when it comes to Star Wars involving Kathleen Kennedy, well, it just did. So we're going to be covering exactly what's going on here between not just the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew and those projects, which, by the way, are fully controlled by Kathleen Kennedy, Leslye Headland, and John Watts, but also the bigger picture here about exactly what Kathleen Kennedy is doing for the reshoots of the Acolyte series and more. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support, and without wasting too much of your time, let's get right into the subject. Now, what really is happening right now between the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew, we've covered this several times, that they are in a constant struggle, these shows. Not just the fact that they have toxic working environments, the atmosphere and such, but also a lot of delays and setbacks came along with those shows. It's exactly why we did not get an official release date window at Star Wars Celebration. Alright, to this day, we're still not quite sure when it's even coming out, other than the fact that Jude Law and some other actors said that it should be arriving around November to December of this year, which makes sense, given that Ahsoka is coming out in August. They want to have some breathing room for September and October before heading into Skeleton Crew. I can see that. Now, what's interesting about all of this is exactly what Kathleen Kennedy is planning to do for the Acolyte reshoots by hiring a new talent to fulfill a heroic role in this latest Star Wars project by Kathleen Kennedy. Now, specifically, of course, currently, many Disney executives are beginning to develop new strategies to turn Star Wars around. However, with the recent planned reshoots for the Acolyte series that Kathleen Kennedy initiated, Lucasfilm's Kennedy is planning to hire actress Halle Bailey, who portrays the Little Mermaid in Disney's live-action iteration of the character that has not been getting the best reception so far. Now, the plan by Kennedy is to actually hire Bailey after what she considers a great performance in the Little Mermaid series, to portray, of course, one of the Jedi Knights in the Acolyte series, I should say, and the reshoots that will be starting up again by the beginning of this summer. Now, again, guys, the Little Mermaid movie is going to be arriving in theaters in a couple of days from now, and basically what Kathleen Kennedy is doing here is that she's hiring the main star of the movie to become a part of this series. Now, the reason why I think that this is a very bad move, and I have nothing personal against the actress, it's all about the story, it's all about what Disney is doing with the character itself. As you all know, I'm sure that you all know and are very well aware about the criticism, but Kathleen Kennedy just seems like she always wants to get some kind of talent that is already connected to something that is very highly controversial. And here you have another scenario where she's getting Bailey to become a part of this new role that's supposed to be a strong, female-led character that's going to lead Jedi Knights in the Jedi Temple in the upcoming Acolyte series, for the reshoots specifically. Now again, we have seen Disney's agenda blown up in full scale with the Little Mermaid movie itself, and a lot of fans are just not standing for it. And what we have seen before with Indiana Jones 5 and the recent interviews that Kathleen Kennedy's been giving out about how the return of Indiana Jones is all about a iconic role, learning from strong, powerful, female-led characters in that actual movie, just goes to show you that it's really not all about bringing back Indiana Jones in all his glory. It's really about stripping the character down, kind of like what they did with Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. It never seems to end when it comes to whatever Kathleen Kennedy has her hands on. Now, what's interesting about this, though, is that the executives over at Disney did not make this call. This was all a Kathleen Kennedy-driven decision to get somebody like Bailey involved to fulfill the role of this new heroic character that's going to be a new Jedi Knight in the Jedi Temple on Coruscant during the High Republic era. Now, what's interesting about this, and even all the more worrisome, is that reportedly Kathleen Kennedy is doing this to fulfill a specific agenda for the actual Acolyte show. Now, moving on. The big plan by Kennedy is to hire Bailey by the end of the June month to get ready for a short but very powerful scene as one of the Jedi in the Jedi Temple during the High Republic era that will hold some kind of an action scene. This was a personal decision by Kennedy to grab Bailey to fulfill the role, since she is already affiliated with Disney and believes she is a great actress and wants to expand her career into the Star Wars universe as one of the great heroes. This was also a latest move by Kennedy to improve diversity within the Jedi Temple scenes. Now, the design of the character is described to be a human female character with long hair tied back in a ponytail that's wielding two light blue bladed lightsabers in a duel against one of the acolytes that reportedly invades the Jedi Temple. This comes via new storyboard illustration descriptions of the character's design. Bailey has already been contacted by Kennedy and has reportedly agreed to fulfill this short but powerful role during the Acolyte reshoots that are now planned to begin filming by the end of next month, that will add a climactic scene to one of the final episodes to give Bailey the limelight that she deserves, in Kennedy's eyes. Kennedy's plan is to fulfill a powerful female-driven role. Is that basically what it all comes down to. Now look, we know that Kathleen Kennedy always makes the wrong calls on a lot of projects. We have seen this time and time again, and I have no doubt in my mind that this is Kennedy's way of kind of giving Bailey a better shot at her acting career. Because look, let's face it, Disney really destroyed this actress's future when it comes to her time in Hollywood. A lot of people that I communicate with that actually love the character of Ariel, whether through social media, I've talked about this on Twitter before in the past, nobody supports Disney's vision of this character by completely altering the design and having such a strict motive by why they changed the design of Ariel in the Little Mermaid movie. So it's really a big problem. It's something that has been a big issue for the longest time now, and Disney's finally beginning to see that there is a pushback from fans, whether it's from Star Wars, or if it's from Indy 5, or if it's from the fans who really support the character of Ariel and are not really in support of the design change and doing that swapping. A lot of fans are just not standing for it anymore, and here you have Kathleen Kennedy dragging that iconic figure that's going to become so controversial in the Little Mermaid movie and throwing her into the Acolyte. Is this intentional? It seems so. Is it a good move on her end? Probably not. Does it mean that she's necessarily a bad actress? Maybe, maybe not, you know? I mean, when you look at stuff like this, it's hard to say, because Daisy Ridley is a prime example. I know a lot of fans don't like the character of Rey, but Daisy Ridley has a lot of acting capabilities that she could have tapped into. It's just the writing wasn't there. And specifically the directors like Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams told her to act a certain way in the Star Wars movies. So what's interesting about this, though, is why Kathleen Kennedy is adding in additional scenes that are really not all that much needed. So overall, guys, I would really love to hear what you all have to say about this entire situation below in the comments. And if you guys really did enjoy the content for today, let me know what you guys have to say about the whole scenario between Bailey, Kathleen Kennedy, and the Acolyte reshoots, and I will catch you guys next time.